Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. In our major story, Army accuses Air Force of bombing security checkpoints in Adamawa State. Also in this program, Borno State government laments loss of 13 local government areas to Boko Haram. Court stops federal government PDP from convening House before December 3rd adjourned date. And outside Nigeria, AU gives Burkina Faso military 2 weeks deadline to hand over power to civilians. And now the details. As the battle between the Nigerian military and Boko Haram intensifies in Adamawa State, some army officers have accused their counterparts in the Air Force for bombarding checkpoints manned by the army. One of the soldiers, who spoke on condition of anonymity to journalists on Monday in Yola, said there were 17 in number manning checkpoints on the Mubi side when an Air Force plane dropped bombs on them. He added that they all fled the area and could not account for the whereabouts of his colleagues. Residents of Hong said Air Force helicopter also dropped bombs on some residential houses in Shua village near the hometown of Nigerian ambassador to Tunisia, James Barka. Meanwhile, as part of measures to contain the level of insecurity, the Adamawa State government has banned the use of motorcycles in 7 local government areas with immediate effect. The affected local governments are Numan, Demsa, Gire, Sung, Gombe, Hong, and Fufore. A statement by the Director, Press and Public Affairs, Government House, Yola, PP Elisha, says security agents have been directed to ensure enforcement of the policy. Borno State Deputy Governor Zana Mustafa has warned that if the federal government does not take urgent steps to check the spread of insurgency in northeastern Nigeria, the 3 states affected will cease to exist in no distant time. Mustafa issued the warning when he paid a courtesy call on the governor of Adamawa State, Bala Ngilari. It revealed that the insurgents have taken over about 13 local government areas in Borno State, insisting they are more equipped than the Nigerian military.
Work as Kiloba goes on. Part of how local government is in their hand, part of the local government is in their hand. In Borno Central, we have lost Kwandiga, half of Kwandiga, complete Bama, Mafa, Dukwa, Kalabalgi, Ngala. That's about 6 out of the 8 local government in the central district of Borno State. In the north, we have Abadan local government in their hand. We have Marte in their hand. We have part of Kaga local government Benishek, the only way leading to Maiduguri now. Then we have Manguno and Kukau, both in the hands of the terrorists. Your Excellency will agree with me that we are in serious trouble.
For his part, Nglari calls for prayers from all citizens and added that security is everybody's business.
Those who are in this thing to turn a new leaf. It's not enough to say, oh, who cares, it's the government, it's the business of government. This thing transcends politics. In the business of security, there is no partisanship. You either sell or sink together. I mean, it's a tragedy to say so many local governments are under siege. And we are facing exactly, we're just 2 steps behind your experience. We're going through it and it's not been easy. But we remain faithful, we remain trustful that God Almighty, who made and created us in His own image, will intervene.
Meanwhile, the recent attacks on Mubi and surrounding villages by insurgents have increased the number of displaced persons in Yola. Some religious organizations have joined in efforts to alleviate the suffering of the displaced persons. Speaking at a distribution center in Yola, the Catholic Bishop of Yola Diocese, Stephen Mamza, says more efforts are needed to take care of the displaced persons, most of whom, he says, are not resident in camps.
There are still so many that have not been assisted up to now. And I just want to call on government to please see how they can identify those that are really badly in need. And most of those that are in need actually are with family members and friends. Those that are at the camp, the government is doing everything possible in order to take care of them. But those that are living with their family members, that is more than 98% of the displaced people, they live with their family members and friends. So these are the people that we really need to reach out to. And based on what we are distributing today, we are distributing to all those who are living with family members and friends.
Recipients thanked the church for the gesture and called on the federal government to intensify effort at fighting the insurgents.
People they run har baza munchka local government, so people they suffer.
State government should go and lay our complaint to federal government so that they will go and push that insurgent out of our town so that we will go. You see, it's not only giving us food that matters, but we want to go back to our various destinations.
Concerned about the security situation in northeast Nigeria, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar is soliciting international support for the war against insurgency. He's also worried about the humanitarian situation aftermath the fall of Mubi, one of the largest towns in the region of the insurgents. The former vice president says at a news conference in Abuja that the world cannot afford to ignore the country at a time hundreds of thousands of people in the northeast Nigeria are at risk.
This is one of the scenes in one of the internally displaced person camps in Yola after the fall of Mubi to Boko Haram insurgents. It is also the reason why former Vice President Atiku Abubakar believes the time is ripe for the international community to come to Nigeria's aid. This, according to him, is because the country's leadership has failed the people of the affected region.
I call upon the international community to help us. I am making a special appeal to countries with sufficient know-how and experience in tackling terrorism to increase their assistance to us. The relief agencies that are already working here should please double their efforts. And all people of goodwill should help in any way they can and do more than they have been doing to alleviate the pain and sufferings that we Nigerians face through this insurgency. This Boko Haram insurgency has been with us now for several years, but has in the last few days taken a step further towards being a disaster of unimaginable proportions. Hundreds of thousands of people are at risk. Nigeria needs world support. The world must not abandon Nigerians in our time of need.
He recounted how insurgents have in recent weeks taken over 16 local governments spread across 3 affected northeast states, which has led to thousands of displaced persons. The former vice president, who was accompanied by senators from the region, say the humanitarian situation is worrisome.
In Yobe, only 2 local governments are being occupied by Boko Haram, Gujiba and Gulani, and then in Adamawa, you now have 5, Madagali, Michika, Mubi North, Mubi South, and Maiha. And in Borno, about 9 local governments, Bama, Ngala, Dikwa, Kalabare, Mafa, Marche, Goza, Dambua, Gulani, Gujiba. So that is the exact, areas that are being occupied. Ever since, this terrorist, group have been taking one territory or the other, there was never a time the Nigerian military has recovered 1 inch of any lost territory in these 5 years.
And inevitably, there were questions on what he would have done if he was the president at a time like this.
My response time would have been very, very, very minimal. And secondly, I would have used a large part of the fighting force to come from those areas where the insurgency is, because they know the terrain better than any other Nigerian you can take.
For now, the former vice president is of the view that the situation has gone out of hands, and the earlier the international community comes to Nigeria's aid, the better for the rest of the world.
As the battle against Boko Haram rages on in the country, former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo has commended efforts by the federal government to register all citizens in the country. The former president, who gave the commendation at his Abeokuta home in Ogun State when he received officials of the National Identity Management Commission, however, says the scheme is long overdue.
We have been having, and I hope that this is permanent.
Yes, sir.
I hope so. Is that we've been going from one to the other. But 2 things have changed. When in 1979 I first approached the idea of identity card, there were protests. Those who felt that this would be used by the police, it will be used by the intelligence, and my brothers here, their predecessors, the media, went to town. Today, I think there's no whimper of any objection or any protest, which is, of course, what progress we have made. That this project will enhance security within this country. Yes. It will also make easy the intelligence gathering or not gathering in the country. But let me once again thank you.
Thank you, sir,
for taking the trouble to.
The Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, has inaugurated the Police Committee on the Prevention and Management of Communal Clashes. The committee is co-chaired by 6 Assistant Inspector General of Police, including Christopher Dega, Muhammad Abubakar, Adiola Deniyi, and Felix Uyana. Others are Yaya Ado, Joseph Umbu, and Rashid Akintude, a Commissioner of Police who serves as the committee's secretary. Speaker at the inauguration, the IG says the move is in line with his resolve to end pervasive communal clashes that have plagued different parts of the nation. The terms of reference of the committee include to encourage and facilitate dialogue among warring parties, The committee members are also to mediate between aggrieved parties with a view to resolving declared differences and, where necessary, conduct investigation into incidents. Court stops federal government's PDP from convening House before December 3rd. Join us for more after this timeout. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Hello and welcome to Health Issues. This is CoreTV News Health Program.
Congenital disorder affecting the orofacial region.
Solely in this category, bacterial hepatitis.
Feeding is a natural way of a mother.
This is a program that takes an in-depth look at health challenges. Faced by humans in our society.
Health issues only on CoreTV News.
Watching CoreTV Primetime News, and if you're just joining us, here are some of the stories that made our headlines. Army accuses Air Force of bombing security checkpoints in Adamawa State. Borno State government laments loss of 13 local government areas to Boko Haram. Court stops federal government, PDP, from convening House before December 3rd adjourned date. A federal high court in Abuja has stopped lawmakers elected on the platform of the People's Democratic Party from reconvening the House of Representatives. Justice Ahmed Muhammad issued the order in a ruling on an ex parte motion filed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, and the All Progressives Congress. Justice Muhammad ordered all the parties in the suit to maintain status quo at least until Friday, when the suit will be heard. He also directed the defendants be served as well as to appear in court on Friday to show cause why the prayers sought by APC lawmakers should not be granted. The opposition lawmakers were led to court by Minority Leader Femi Gbajabiamila.
By the courts that any attempt to reconvene the House outside of the rules provided by the House, outside of Section 60 of the Constitution, which allows, which gives the House unfettered powers to regulate its own proceedings. Any such move will be illegal and unconstitutional and null and void. We know it, they know it, But to make assurances that we sure let the courts make a pronouncement on that. To the ruling PDP, I'm not sure whether the Inspector General of Police was still undergoing residual legal studies at that time, that he was not aware that there had been such decampment, and he did not do anything about it. If you look at our Constitution very closely in Section 42, it says that nobody shall be discriminated against on the basis of his political opinion for another person. If you did not withdraw the security aids of the Speaker of the Ondo State Assembly, then there's no reason that you should remove the aids of the Speaker of the National Assembly. That is discrimination against the provisions of Section 42.
The most important thing that I want to talk about is the impeachment issue that is being bandied around. We need to be very careful. The Speaker has nothing to lose, absolutely nothing. If you go and get 50 members somewhere to illegally impeach the Speaker, then 50 members elsewhere can equally impeach someone who is higher than the Speaker. So we should watch it, because the hunter can become the haunted in this matter. The reality of the issue is that the APC members are ready. We've been calm. We want to exhaust the legal means. Politically, we have every capacity to deal with this issue. And in the next few days, Nigerians will.
The Osho Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Oshogbo, the state capital, has adjourned ruling slated earlier for Monday to Tuesday, 4th of November 2014. The adjournment was hinged on the illness of one of the members of the panel. The deputy governorship candidate of the PDP, Adejare Bello, who was present, however, slugged it out with the legal team of the APC. Rashid now reports.
In case you adjourn to tomorrow, one of my lawyers is not free.
The stage is set amidst tight security as councils on both sides of the divide get ready for ruling on the competence of the tribunal. This, however, did not take place due to the illness of one of the members of the tribunal. Both councils later agree on this development.
You know, the tribunal members are human beings. Yeah, they can fall sick. Anything can happen. So we want to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's only when we come here tomorrow and the situation repeats itself, then we may begin to ask questions.
If that has happened today, it can happen to just anybody at any time.
Counsel to the APC and Adejare Bello speak on the PDP's petition before the tribunal.
I do not see the petition seeing the light of the day if the objections are taken, because that is a clear law. And that's in any case why they are afraid to have the objections taken now, because if you take the objections, you are exposing, you see, the real weakness and the question of why did they go there in the first place.
If anybody will complain or will call our petition a frivolous one, this or that, it shouldn't come from either Aregbesola or APC, because they are the chief beneficiaries of court process.
Bello's submission that the case before the tribunal should go to the Supreme Court was countered by the APC's counsel.
Aregbesola and his deputy is never governor or deputy governor until the Supreme Court pronounces that. And I can assure you, where we are now, either for or against, this matter will get to the Supreme Court.
They want to go to the Supreme Court. That already shows that they know the weakness of their case. Because I expect them to say that at the very beginning, yes, we are sure of our case and we will win, and then the other side will have to go up there. But if they say we are going to Supreme Court, they know the weakness of their case.
Political observers are anxiously waiting to see the outcome of the petition before the tribunal. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
The People's Democratic Movement is prepared to offer its platform to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to run for the presidency if he fails to secure the presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress. PDM National Chairman Bashir Yusuf, however, notes that it is left for the former Vice President to approach the party, not the other way round. He, however, denies Atiku's involvement in the affairs of the PDM.
Atiku is a candidate for PDM. I think that's a question for Atiku, honestly. It's not a question for PDM, because... Yeah, but you see, the law does not does not allow a political party to stop anyone from running for an office on the platform of the political party. So we are obliged by law, if he wants to run on the platform of our party, to give him the opportunity. It's not by choice, it's by law. So if he wants to come into our party, we can't stop him. The party must be open to all Nigerians. And if he wants to run for election, we can't stop him. We must give him the opportunity to run. If he wins, we have to field him. So it's a matter of law, it's not a matter of choice.
The national leadership of the ruling People's Democratic Party has opened its doors for other presidential aspirants in the party. It has now resolved to sell nomination forms to those who may want to contest the presidential primary with President Goodluck Jonathan. The PDP, however, insists the deadline for the collection of forms remain Thursday, November 6th. One of the presidential aspirants in the party, Abdul Jalil Tafawa Balewa, has been battling the PDP's hierarchy for the presidential nomination form and voiced displeasure over the idea of consensus candidacy being promoted by the party until now. Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha has said that he is the only presidential aspirant in the All Progressives Congress that has the capacity to dislodge President Goodluck Jonathan in 2015. Also, he argued if the APC fails to field him, it would lose the presidential election woefully to the People's Democratic Party. Okorocha, who was speaking at a rally organized by a northern group, Ariwa People's Grand Coalition in Kaduna, says his achievements in office shows what he could do if he becomes president. Earlier, he had visited the Emir of Zazzau, Shehu Idris, and laid a foundation for Rocha's free secondary school education in the Emirate. Nigeria's security authorities have threatened to calm down hard on any attempt to derail the electoral process. They also warned journalists against being used to truncate the process leading to the 2015 general elections. The National Security Advisor, Sambo Dasuki, issued the warning at the opening of a two-day workshop for the journalists on security consciousness and awareness in Abuja. The NSA was represented by Director in his office, Ambassador Laiwola Lasinde.
It's disheartening to know that sections of the media and some unpatriotic politicians are busy deriding the present administration for their selfish interest. It encourages divisiveness and fuels insurgency and insecurity across the nation. Any further attempt to derail our common resolve to forge a united, peaceful, and prosperous Nigeria will be rebuffed by the relevant security agencies. And I assure you there will never be sacred cows.
Say that security is not the preserve of security agencies or those who have to manage our security. It is all our collective responsibility. My only problem is that when we talk to you, the media, the ones that manage the perception of Nigerians, that once we leave, it's like the rest lives with us. We don't continue to sensitize the Nigerian public. If not, what happened recently in Gombe, we would have been able to manage it in terms of casualties. There would have been less. So I want to seize this opportunity to say, let us find a tiny corner, either in our dailies or in our news summary or news analysis on how best we can sensitize Nigerians to be more conscious of their environment.
Lecturers at the Adeniro Gosoya College of Education in Lagos are calling on the state government to intervene in its ongoing crisis. They staged a protest to draw the attention of the authorities to the development. Olajumoke Olatunji has more.
Education, they say, is the bedrock of any nation. The developed nations did not attain their level of development by merely wishing for it. Their dreams and aspirations were actualized through a planned, well-thought-out, executed education system, taking into consideration the welfare of staff and students as well as good learning environment. This is at Deniro Ogunsoya College of Education in the Janiki area of Lagos. Expectedly, learning is supposed to be taking place, but to the shocker of CoreTV News, these lecturers have resorted to whiling away their time on the draft table. We are in the middle of a protest. Among the grievances is the issue of dilapidated structures scattered around the college.
This clinic is a Lagos State government. We are saying, we are crying now that we don't want to experience synagogue scenario again. You can see, this is eyesore and it shouldn't be.
Added to this rot is the financial recklessness on the part of the management and abuse of schools' subvention fund.
The management of this institution for the past 17 months has deducted the pensions of every staff and failed to remit it to the appropriate pension administrators. As if that was not enough, our cooperative, which belongs to every members, the management also deducted and failed to remit to appropriate cooperative up to the tune of over 150 million naira. And the implication of this is this: members can no longer access their pensions.
We discovered that they are even owing the PTA. They didn't remit the money to the PTA to the tune of 8 million naira. The management, is like the issue has passed their level, because I don't think they will be able to afford to pay all those money, because the money is going to the tune of 600 million, which I don't think the management will be able to refund on their own, except with the aid of the state government.
As one of the oldest colleges of education in the state, the teachers are craving for equal treatment given to all the higher institutions in the state. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
We'll take another break now on the primetime news and return with business, sports and other stories outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
And now to business news. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Olusegun Aganga, has disclosed that the total value of exporting raw cocoa from Nigeria is approximately $10 billion a year. He reiterates the commitment of the country to expand the commodity production for additional foreign earnings. Aganga says this at the just concluded Cocoa Summit 2014 in Abuja. According to him, the federal government would not relent in the implementation of expansion projects for cocoa processing and manufacturing in the country to claim a greater share of the annual $200 billion global global market for finished goods made from cocoa. Aganga said the federal government was set to retain more of the value of the cocoa industry in Nigeria, create jobs and wealth for citizens, and generate income for government. The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry (LCCI) has concluded plans to host the 2014 Lagos International Trade Fair. The main objectives of the fair are the revitalization and diversification of the Nigerian economy, as well as Nigeria's non-oil exports. It seeks to accelerate the development of commerce and industry while promoting made-in-Nigeria products, agriculture, and agro-based industry. The objectives of this year's fair include the evolution of Nigeria's trade with the outside world, the direction of attention to the role of the private sector in the Nigerian economy, as well as attract prospects for foreign and local investments in strategic areas. The International Trade Fair is supported by the federal and state governments. It offers a unique exposition for manufacturers, suppliers, buyers, and an opportunity for investment and trade promotion. The fair has an exhibition space of over 40,000 square meters. The fair will run from November 7th through to the 16th of November. It will take place at the Tafawa Balewa Square, Lagos. Nigerian Fonta Group IHS has raised $2 billion in equity and $600 million in debt in what it says is the biggest equity fundraising by an African company this decade. It will use the money to finance infrastructure spending and recently agreed acquisitions, the statement says on Monday. It says the equity funding was from new and existing stakeholders. The loan facility is split into two parts, a 7-year tranche of $500 million and an 8-year tranche of 100 million naira. EcoBank, Standard Chartered, Standard Bank, Investec, and the World Bank's International Finance Corporation participated in the loan. IHS would complete the two acquisitions soon, with one set to be concluded in a few weeks and the other shortly. Nigeria invested an estimated $6.6 billion in telecoms infrastructure from 2010 through 2012. Equity transactions on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Monday ended on a negative note. The all-share index dipped by 0.55% to close at 37,343.85 basis points. Market capitalization decreased and closes in the same manner at 12.368 trillion naira. In all, a total of 285.12 million shares valued at 3.29 billion naira were exchanged in 4,306 deals. Report shows that Zenith Bank topped the gainers chart, followed by UBA, Sky, Guarantee Trust Bank, and Vitafoam. On the downside, WAPCO topped the losers chart, followed by 7-Up, Dangote Cement, PZ, and Cadbury. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. And now to sports. The Confederation of African Football has named Egyptian Gerd Zaghloul Grisha as referee for next week's 2015 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying showdown between Nigeria and Congo-Brazzaville in Pointe Noire. Grisha will be assisted by compatriot Starson Abu El Sadat Bedia, assistant referee 1, Ahmed Abu Elela, assistant referee 2, and Mahmoud Asho, reserve referee. CAF also named Abubakar Alim Konate from Cameroon as commissioner, while Moroccan Nasiri Abdullali will be security officer. The game is slated to start at 3:30 p.m. Congo time, which is 2:30 Nigeria time. Stephen Keshi's 25-man squad for the battle are expected to start arriving in Abuja from Sunday next week. Real Madrid star Cristiano Ronaldo's superb strike against Liverpool has been named the UEFA Champions League Goal of the Week, presented by Nissan for match day 3. The Portuguese forward ran onto James Rodriguez's deftly chipped pass and lifted a brilliant first-time shot over Simon Mignolet to put the competition holders ahead at Anfield. Ronaldo is in sensational form and has now scored 70 UEFA Champions League goals, trailing all-time top goal scorer role by just one. Carlo Ancelotti's team went on to record an impressive 3-0 victory over Liverpool, with Karim Benzema scoring twice to put Madrid in pole position in Group B. Brendan Rodgers' Reds are level on 3 points with Basel and Ludogorets ahead of their trip to the Spanish capital for the reverse fixture on Tuesday of match day 4. And now to other stories outside Nigeria. The African Union has given Burkina Faso's military a 2-week deadline to hand over power to a civilian ruler or face sanctions. The AU says the army had acted unconstitutionally when it took over after President Blaise Compaoré was forced to resign last Friday. The military says a civilian-led transitional government would be established as quickly as possible. Compaoré resigned after mass protests to end his 27-year-old rule. On Saturday, the military named Isaac Zida, previously second in command of the Presidential Guard, as the new interim leader. A popular revolt led to Compaoré's resignation, but the military takeover was against democracy, says AU official Simeon Oyono Esono, following a meeting of the body's Peace and Security Council in Ethiopia. The AU will apply sanctions against Burkina Faso if the military fails to give up power within 2 weeks. The AU's Peace and Security Council is expected to meet again in 2 weeks' time to discuss the crisis. And before we wrap up the show tonight, here's a quick reminder of the stories that made our headlines. Army has accused Air Force of bombing security checkpoints in Adamawa State. Borno State's government lamented loss of 13 local government areas to Boko Haram. And lastly, court has stopped federal government, PDP, from convening House before December 3rd adjourned date. And that's been the show tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Ebolomo Adekunle saying have a wonderful night rest.